Hello and welcome to Mangator 96, and today we're going to talk about Arifureta Shokugyou de Sekai Saikyou. Today's topic will be yet another delusional, narcissistic, ignorant and self-righteous idiot, but I'm not talking about Koki here, as this one is also a coward and a racist on top of that, so it's always a treat seeing him get humiliated by Hajime, Yue or especially Tio. I'm of course talking about the demon Freid. But before we start, here's the spoiler warning, as we spoil a lot of things in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I would highly recommend that you go and read the light novel, as it is an enjoyable read. For everyone else, let's start with who Freid is. Freid Bagwa was the supreme commander of the demon race army. Freid is a devoted follower of the god that the demons worship. He is very prideful of his looks, as he gets irritated when Yue calls him ugly. He gets irritated more from his humiliated scar, and he got several injured by Tio while in her dragon form. He is calm, collected and very confident in his abilities. While he comes off as arrogant due to being able to use ancient magic, he knows his limits of his ability and can admit when someone is stronger than him, even choosing to avoid facing them head on. He hates humans as he viewed them as an inferior species but was ordered to recruit the hero party or kill them if they refused. In those cases, he would use whatever means if he can use it to destroy his enemies, whether it through surprise attacks or taking hostages, which makes Freid a coward, and his tactics has made a fool of himself when his ambush on Hajime failed to kill him. Even when he is injured, he can still fight, leaving Freid to flee away even when he gets several injured by Tio's wrath. He even ran from Yue after she dealt him with a serious injury blow. Freid is an ignorant dim-witted who has a bad habit of jumping to conclusions about his enemies. During the demon's invasion of Highly Kingdom, he mistakenly thought the reason why Yue refuses his proposal to join the demon's side was because he thought she was a champion of Echt. He further mistakenly thought Hajime and his group cared about the kingdom and thought he could use them as hostages against him to force him to give him the location of the labyrinth, which Hajime berates him for his deluded thinking, as revealed that he and his companions never cared for the Highly Kingdom, as well as they never have any allegiances with both the kingdom or the so-called heroes, and he refused to give him the locations for his ignorance. Freid cares a great deal about his fellow demons. He took the time to confront Mikhail when he learns his lover Catalea was killed in his anger when Yue turns his army attacks against them. The only reason why he pulled back his forces at the Highly Kingdom was because he didn't want to waste his brethren's lives needlessly after Hajime killed hundred thousands of Freid's men. He also wishes to help his fellow demons become stronger by giving them army of powerful monsters so they could conquer the other great labyrinths, with the end goal being to strengthen Garland and the demon race by monopolizing ancient magic, only to fail because of Hajime and his companions. Like Koki and Hiyama, Freid is very delusional due to his beliefs and will twist facts to better match his beliefs. Despite conquering two of the great labyrinths, he refused to believe that the gods have been manipulating all the races for their own twisted games. Even after learning that the demon god and the human god were one and the same, he chose to believe their whole history of war as a trial to prove the demons were worthy of following Echt, instead of accepting the truth that everything and his fellow demons had done and died for has been for nothing but the cruel amusement of Echt. As for his role in the story, Freid explored the Great Labyrinth in the first Cavern of Schnee and managed to acquire ancient magic which allowed him to control monsters, but at the cost of losing many of his subordinates to the labyrinth's trial. He then began to use his newfound power to tip the scale of demons' war against humanity in the demons' favor. When the heroes arrived at Tortos in order to fight the demons, he dispatched his subordinate Catlea with a detachment of monsters to the Great Orcus Labyrinth, where they were training in order to either recruit or kill them, as well as to obtain the ancient magic contained in the process. When Freid heard the news of Catlea's death, he immediately departed to the Grand Guren volcano after realizing that the enemy was more of a threat than he thought, and successfully completed the labyrinth trial and obtained its magic as a result. He then lay it in wait for Hajime and his party to arrive at the end and nearly killed him after launching a surprise attack from his dragon mount just as soon as they completed the labyrinth's last trial. Despite the element of surprise on his side, Freid was forced to retreat after engaging Hajime and the others in a battle, but not before destroying the labyrinth's keystone and forcing the volcano to erupt all of its magma. As Freid fled, he was pursued by Tio in her dragon form and sustained serious injuries from her as he escaped. After he recovered from his wounds, he led a large invasion which consisted of 100,000 demons and monsters to the Highly Kingdom and managed to easily break through the kingdom defenses thanks to the treachery of Eri and Hiyama. During the invasion, he came face to face with Yue, who wanted to get revenge on him for the injuries he inflicted on Hajime in their last encounter. Freid attempted to recruit Yue, but she claimed that her only loyalty was to Hajime. Yue managed to inflict serious harm upon Freid, even managed to reignite his old wounds from their first battle, but he managed to escape once again. He then proceeded to meet up with Hajime at the palace courtyard after the latter had killed Hiyama and attempted to stop him by threatening to kill the people of the Highly Kingdom. Hajime caught Freid off guard and destroyed the majority of the demon's initial invasion forces using his sunlight convergence laser artifact Hyperion without regard to the people of the kingdom. He then proceeded to insult and point out Freid's habit of assuming things on his own and bluffed and threatened to destroy the rest of his forces if he did not retreat. Due to not having any information regarding a light pillar or any other weapons Hajime may have in his possession, Freid then concluded it would be too much of a risk continuing the battle and instead opted to fall for the latter's bluff and retreated with Eri via teleportation gate. Before departing, Freid vowed to personally kill Hajime in the name of his god Alva. Freid retired to his home Garland after his defeat. He later learned that the demon's campaign against the Holshire Empire and the beastman nation Verbergen had also ended in failure. It was then that he was ordered to report to the king. After he arrived, he apologizes for the demon's recent defeats under his commands, believing that he failed due to underestimating his opponents. The king, however, did not blame Freid and instead claimed that his enemies were simply too powerful to defeat through the current means. The king then claimed that he received an oracle from Alva and that he would send them aid in order to defeat Hajime and capture him and his companions. Freid was about to protest the idea of bringing such powerful enemies to his homeland, but was interrupted when a pillar of light suddenly appeared in front of him. He believed it to be Hajime attacking them, but the king calmed him down. It was then that the apostle Hurst appeared in front of Freid and the king and offered the aid of herself as well as 500 more apostles in order to defeat Hajime. After Hajime and his companions also completed the Great Labyrinth in the Frost Cavern of Schnee, Freid, Eri and the army of apostles waited for them as they left thanks to Freid suspecting Hajime would explore the labyrinth at some point. Initially believing that they wanted to fight, Hajime and the others prepared themselves for battle. Freid, however, claimed that he was merely offering an invitation to them to visit the demon nation Garland at the behest of his lord, and that the apostle accompanying him were to act as a deterrent in case Hajime decided to attack. Seeing him being accompanied by ex-servants, Tio asked Freid about having learned the true nature of the gods of Tortoise as evil beings after having explored 2 labyrinths that were created by the Liberators as a way to oppose them. Freid, however, responded by claiming that he did not find the validity to their claims due to the lack of evidence. Other than that, they had not conveyed to him after completing the labyrinths. He then went on by professing his devotion to Echt, who was originally the god that humanity worshipped, and claimed everything up till now had been transpired by Echt as a way for the demons to prove themselves as the chosen race that deserved to stand by their god's side. Freid then once again requested that Hajime and the others to accept his invitation to visit the Demon King. When Hajime hinted as refusing to attend, Freid then opened a portal to reveal that his teacher, Aiko, his former classmates, and even Princess Liliana were being held prisoners at the Demon Lord's castle. Despite this revelation, Hajime was unfazed by this development and still expressed his refusal to attend. Freid, however, planned for Hajime's reaction and revealed one more surprise for Hajime: the imprisonment of his adopted daughter Miu and her mother Remia. This immediately infuriated Hajime and sent out a murderous aura so powerful that even Freid was scared. After confirming Miu and Remia were really imprisoned, Hajime reluctantly agreed to Freid's invitation. Freid then attempted to seize on Hajime's complacency by ordering him to disarm all of his artifacts, as well as to shackle himself with a pair of manner-sealing cuffs, but Hajime refused and rebutted by claiming that Freid had put himself in a dangerous position for kidnapping Miu and Remia, and that he would massacre everyone within the Demon Nation regardlessly of age or affiliation if any harm came before the two of them. Eri attempted to defuse the tension by having Freid reconsider his order of having Hajime disarmed, but Freid feared Hajime's power and did not want him to roam around his homeland unrestrained. It was then that the Apostle Hearst interjected and had the Demon General reconsider his demands of Hajime by promising that she and her fellow apostles could overtake Hajime if a fight ensued. Ultimately, Freid listened to Hearst's advice and everyone traveled to Garlands through his gateway. And what a mistake that was. As for his relationship with Hajime, Hajime is Freid's sworn enemy after he and his party killed Cattleya and her forces. He failed on his attempt to kill Hajime, although injured him, by ambushing him using his dragon wand, and with this failure he was forced to retreat. He encountered Hajime the second time when he invaded the Highly Kingdom, but he underestimated Hajime and then witnessed Hajime's satellite laser destroy many of Freid's 100,000 initial forces. Hajime called Freid a fool for his dim-wittedness and refused to give him the location of the labyrinth. He also threatened Freid that he will destroy more of his troops if he doesn't retreat. Following with no other options, Freid retreated but gave a warning to Hajime. He swore revenge upon Hajime if they meet again. However, this never came to pass as Freid along with his dragon wand Uranus were slain by Tio. With this, I covered everything that I wanted to cover on Freid. And that'll be all for this video. If you like this video, leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments below, or subscribe to the channel for more manga reviews and One Piece content. And until next time, take care.